Okay, everyone, I believe we should be good to go here. Um, so welcome to the first show of the new era, so to speak. This is the NCAA football preview. I'm your host, Nick Mazone. I assume most people watching this will be coming over from my live dog show. That is officially concluded. We are done with NBA and MLB. And we are on to football only. Today is NCAA, and on Thursdays, I will be doing NFL preview. We can get straight into it. It's kind of nice to be able to pick some favorites to win and cover games. Um, as obviously, I'm used to being limited to underdogs, but we can get straight into it. I got 5 picks for you guys. As well as a couple of leans for this weekend. I think there's a lot of good lines out there. It's kind of a perfect time to start an NCAA show. The Big Ten's back. A couple other conferences are just coming back. Things are almost getting back to normal. But with the first pick of the day and of the show, it's on the right that I go with my alma mater, Penn State, to cover 6.5 versus Indiana. Let's clear the air here. Yes, I did just graduate from Penn State. I'm definitely biased towards Penn State, but I feel like even through an unbiased lens, this has got to be a very appealing line for Penn State. They have to cover a touchdown against Indiana. They're bringing back pretty much everyone when you think about it. They're bringing back Sean Clifford. The news broke last night that Journey Brown could potentially be out for the season, definitely out week 1. But Penn State does have the luxury of having 4 different 4-star running backs coming out of that backfield behind Journey Brown. I would argue Noah Cain might be even better than Journey. But so he'll be leading the backfield. You got Devin Ford, Keziah Holmes. They'll be fine at running back. They're also bringing back Jahan Dotson, Pat Freiermuth, one of, if not the best tight end in the country. Pretty much the whole offensive line. The only question on the offense is depth at wide receiver, and I think they should be fine. The defense loses a couple of guys, but Jason Owe is replacing Yetur Gross-Matos, obviously on the Panthers now. And now the one that hurts is Micah Parsons opting out and not coming back. Obviously, that's an unreplaceable player, but they do have Lance Dixon and Jesse Luketa to kind of try to fill that void, both highly touted recruits. And really the only question on defense is the depth at corner, which once again, I don't think is going to be too much of an issue here in this game. This team didn't really lose too much. They're ranked in the top 10 preseason for a reason. It's a very good team, and I think Indiana's kind of just average. It seems like every year that there's a team like this. The teams that in the Big Ten that you think are going to play well, I just don't see it happening for Indiana. These two teams played last year. Penn State won and actually would have covered this. They won by 7, and they were outgained by almost a full 100 yards in that one. So imagine what happens this time around when they play like they're supposed to and outgain Indiana. I think this is an easy cover. It's only a touchdown. If you look at all the other ranked teams playing unranked teams, the lines are so much bigger than this, especially for a team like Penn State who's in the top 10. I can't see this being a closer game. Maybe the backdoor cover hurts, but this really shouldn't be too competitive. I think Penn State should go out there and win this game. So Penn State minus 6.5. That's pick 1. And straight into pick number 2. One of my favorite teams this year is NC State. They're getting 17 points versus UNC. By now, you guys should know I'm a big NC State guy. I think they're super underrated. Now, the one thing is why this line is so big is because NC State's starting quarterback is out. I think it's about to be a month and a half. And I would assume that's the only thing that makes sense as to why this line's so big. But he actually missed the first 2 games of this year because of contact tracing issues back in the preseason. He had to get cleared to go. So they played 2 games without this quarterback, and they've looked fine. They put up 42 points against Wake Forest. That's with Hockman. He'll be their quarterback this weekend. 24 points against Virginia Tech, but in that game they rotated 2 guys, 16 passes apiece. This offense has shown they can score some points with Hockman. But even other than the quarterback issues, NC State is a very good team. Actually, maybe I shouldn't say very good. They're a good team. They've already proven they can score with Hockman under center. So I don't think it's as big as a question mark as this line seems to indicate. But when you look at UNC, on the other hand, I think they've always been overrated with their ranking. I have this whole theory of the ACC teams being highly rated just to make Clemson look a little bit better. But that's besides the point. That's an argument for a different day. Other than an easy win over Syracuse, who sucks, let's be honest, UNC hasn't really had a convincing win this year. And last week, obviously, they finally got exposed for what they really are against Florida State. And despite it only being a 3-point loss, anyone that watched that game knows that it was not nearly as close as that. Florida State did everything they could to try to blow that game. But, they're not too good either. Florida State, they're just kind of like an average team in the ACC. I don't know. I just think the ACC in general isn't that good, and UNC is just better than the average bad team in the division or in the conference. I honestly think that there's a legit shot that NC State wins this one outright, but I'd be very surprised to see them not cover 17, even with the backup quarterback. I think they can keep this close and keep it competitive. I'm just not that big on UNC. Maybe that's just me. Obviously, if you're a big UNC fan and think they got a talented team, you're not going to like this one. But the way I see it is that this is a lot closer than a 17-point game. So I'll take NC State plus the points, and I feel pretty confident about it. So, let's move into the next one. It's Auburn -3 versus Ole Miss. I'm going to keep this one relatively quick. I don't think there's too much to really talk about here. Okay, sure, Auburn isn't great this year. They're not bad though. They're a decent team. Bo Nix hasn't looked good yet, but it's gonna come. And let's just get it straight. This team is still significantly better than Ole Miss. You can start looking at Ole Miss and you see their defense is absolutely horrible. Maybe one of the worst in the entire country. They allowed 51 points to Florida, 41 points to Kentucky, 63 points to Bama, and 33 to Arkansas. They're allowing basically 580 yards per game. I mean, come on, it doesn't get much worse than that. Especially because other than Bama and Florida, I mean, Kentucky's offense is okay. Arkansas's is decent, maybe. Just a defense that's allowing a ton of yards and a lot of points. And you can look on the other side and say, yes, they are putting up 540 yards per game on offense. But I think it's kind of similar to the Cowboys in the NFL where obviously pre-Dak injury, they were putting up a ton of yards but losing games, and it's because they go down by so much early that you're playing a quarter and a half against prevent defenses, and you can get some yards there in garbage time, but they're not real yards, and that's what I see here. I don't know. I just really don't think that this is that close. I think this might be my best pick of the day. I think Bo Nix is finally going to have a good game because, let's face it, if you don't have a good game against this Ole Miss defense, you're probably not going to have one this year. So I think that Auburn's going to take this one just based on being able to score enough points. I think their defense will be okay, definitely good enough to where they can cover 3 points. So maybe my best pick of the day, or my favorite one anyway. So definitely going with Auburn to cover 3 there. I think that's basically all but a lock, but those are the ones that you seem to lose the most. So we'll go straight into the next one. Fourth pick, Florida State +5 versus Louisville. You see in the caption here, I just say Florida State's the better of 2 bad teams, and that's kind of what it is here. Just 2 bad teams playing each other. Florida State 2-3. Obviously, last week they beat UNC, but their only other win is Jacksonville State. They lost to Georgia Tech, Miami, and Notre Dame. Not horrible losses. maybe the Georgia Tech one. You'd like to see them win that. But Louisville, not much better, maybe worse. They're 1-4. They also lost to Georgia Tech, Notre Dame, and Miami. So 3 mutual opponents, both lost to all 3 of them. Louisville also lost to Pitt, who people might know. I think Pitt's pretty bad. Their only wins Western Kentucky, the Hilltoppers. But, I mean, that's just not – neither of these resumes are impressive. Obviously, Florida State does have that UNC win, which is easily the best win that either of these teams have. But the competition's Jacksonville State and Western Kentucky. So, yeah, I mean, these 2 teams are bad. You can look at how they've been playing recently. Like over the last 3 games, I think Florida State seems to be trending in the right direction, at least their offense is, while Louisville is not. You can say, yeah, Louisville played Notre Dame close last week, but they only scored 7 points. I think Florida State put up 24 against Notre Dame. I could be wrong, but I just really don't think that Florida State I don't think Florida State's good, but I think they're better than Louisville. I would have expected them to be a favorite, especially because of last week recency bias, but that is not the case. I think they're actually pretty even. I think Florida State's a little bit better in terms of what the team has. So, yeah, I think they're a little bit better. I think I would definitely look into playing the money line on +5. Not sure exactly what they're at, but to take Florida State plus the points, I think is a pretty safe bet here. I just think Louisville's really bad. And at least Florida State has showed the potential that they can play a good game and beat good teams. Louisville, not a good team. Hopefully they don't come out and kind of just fall flat because of coming off a win. They think they're on top of the world. I don't expect that happening, but always a possibility. But I think Florida State +5 is a pretty safe bet, to be honest. And I can go into the last pick of the day before I throw in a couple of leans. And I hate laying double-digit points. Really, anything more than 2 touchdowns, I kind of look away from. But let's be honest, if there's going to be a team that you're going to pick to cover 21 points, it's going to be Alabama. So Bama -21 versus Tennessee. You look at Bama's record, they've won their games by 21 points, 26 points, 15 points, and 17 points. But you got to take into account those are against some better teams than what Tennessee is. Tennessee started off hot. They were 2-0 since they lost to Georgia by 23 and Kentucky by 27. Kind of a rough 2-game stretch there. You look at each team's average game. Alabama on average wins by 19 points. Tennessee on average loses by 6 points. There's a huge gap between these 2 teams. Obviously, I don't think anyone thinks that this is going to be a close game. Obviously, on Alabama's end, they're going to put up points. I think it's almost a safe play at this point that they're going to put up 40+. So I think this game comes down to just a matter of if Tennessee is going to be able to put up 20+, and I personally don't see it. The way I think this game is going to play out, Alabama is going to go up early. Tennessee is going to be forced to pass the ball too much. Gorentino, I just don't think is a good quarterback, and I don't think he's going to be able to put up a lot of points on a Nick Saban defense. You look at his season so far, he's only thrown 750 yards in 4 games. You can do the math on that. It's not pretty good. And 4 touchdowns to 3 picks. Their lead running back only has 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, leading receivers under 250 yards. It's just an offense that's not going to be able to put up points. I don't know. I could see this being an absolute blowout. I mean, like in the range of, not saying what Clemson did last week of like 73-7, but 56-7, 56-10. I could see it being one of those games. Bama is this good. Mac Jones, you got to respect him. He's in that conversation for Heisman. But like I said, I think Bama jumps out to an early lead and keeps it on them. So -21, I think it's a good bet. You're not going to see me laying this many points often, but like I said, it is Alabama. They're one of the teams that you can feel confident in them doing it. So that's all I got for picks. I'll go into 2 leans I got. It is Michigan -3 versus Minnesota. Minnesota's got a new OC. Probably should have mentioned that for the Penn State game. Minnesota's offensive coordinator did go to Penn State. I don't know how that'll affect the games, but Penn State needed an upgrade at OC, so I feel good about that. I'm not sure how Minnesota will do without him. But Michigan -3 versus Minnesota, and Liberty -10 versus Southern Miss. Liberty is a legit team. I'll be looking at them a lot. Look at them a lot this season because I think there might be some good lines with them just because the fact that they are Liberty. But they are a good team. They're getting a little bit of national recognition. So, I don't know. They deserve to be favorites, but I think they can cover 10 points. So, that's all I got for today. 5 picks, 2 leans. Feel pretty good about them, to be honest. There were a couple more that were just on the edge of making the cut for the show, but didn't. But yeah, I think 7 plays is a decent amount. Definitely have a lot of value in these. Also, besides what I give out, you guys can go on to BetQL, and they have a bunch of more detailed numbers and stuff and trends that that they predict on how the game is going to turn out. And obviously, it's pretty good. It's pretty accurate. So if you guys want all that information, sign up. Use promo code Mazone. You get 20% off. It helps you. It helps me. So be sure to do that if you want a more detailed look into every game on the college football and NFL slates. So with that being said, that's all I got. So I'll be back Thursday. I believe it's going to be at this time. I could be wrong. I'll have to check on that. But Thursday, sometime in the morning, I will be live for an NFL preview, best bets of the NFL slate this weekend. So tune into that. So I'll see you guys then, and good luck.